Hey guys, welcome back to the Betar Project. This episode we have Matt Kettlewell. Matt, thank you for coming on. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, mate. How's the country life?
Oh, well, currently raining and miserable.
Typical English weather,
But
eh?
other than that, it is typical, yeah. Well, 365 days of the year, rain.
So did you say you're located in Yorkshire?
Yeah, the Yorkshire Dales, so it's a national park. It's Wensleydale, famous for an English cheese, strangely. But yeah, there's not a lot up here. It's pretty remote.
And where were you from originally? Like, what made you decide to move out there?
Well, I'm from here originally.
Okay, yeah.
So I've moved away, then moved back with my partner as we were expecting our first child.
Exciting times. I bet you're nervous too.
Oh yeah, buzzing with no sleep.
Especially a girl. God, wait till she's a teenager.
Don't say that.
She'll be locked in her bedroom.
Yeah, dreading those years, but first years will be all right, I think.
Yeah.
I hope.
So for all the listeners who don't know who you are, you want to quickly, I guess, introduce what you do and all that?
Yeah, so I'm Matt Kettlewell. I'm an adventurer, an expedition leader. I've walked the Central Americas. I've taken on the Ho Chi Minh Trail and circumnavigated Vietnam on a 50cc scooter. I lead expeditions around the world now, and I also campaign for mental health.
Have you had struggles with mental health?
As a sort of young adult, I struggled with my mental health, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to touch on that a bit? What drove you to that?
Yeah. So living up here, I struggled with depression and anxiety from about, I'd say, 14 till my early 20s. And it was brought on from probably living up here. It didn't really help as it's raining every day. And I was bullied at school, and I just never really fitted in anywhere. So I just struggled, and throughout college, when I went to college, I carried on with my struggles, and then from there I sort of found my feet when I discovered travel and adventure, really.
Why do you think you never quite fitted into different groups at school?
So going to school in the 90s, I'm dyslexic, which you'll find lots of outdoors people are. Back then in the 90s, everyone used to think that's just you being thick. So I was just picked on for that. I grew really tall when I was like 12. So I was about the height I am now. So I was like a skinny giant to any 12-year-old. And it just made me stand out. And I was targeted for that, really.
Were you always adventurous when you were younger?
Yeah, I never really sort of understood it. I just like wandering off. I didn't think of it as an adventure. I just like going and see what was over there, or oh, there's a waterfall down there. I'll go have a look. Never really thought of it as an adventure. Things like that. Not even travel had crossed my mind really at that age.
You just loved being outdoors. Did you have siblings?
That's it. Yeah. So I used to hang out with a cat. I had a cat that used to follow me everywhere. And we're farmers in the Yorkshire Dales. So we've got a 500-acre farm, which is a hill farm. And we have forest on it. We have a few waterfalls. We've got a lake about half a mile down the road. So when I was younger, all these areas were there to explore. So I just used to wander off, see if I could find what I could find. Started collecting fossils randomly because I found loads of fossils. This cat used to come with me all over there.
That's awesome. So did you end up finishing school?
By the end of it, I had an attendance rate of 30%, so I didn't really go fully. But I finished. In England we have GCSEs. Passed my GCSEs. I went on to do my A levels, which I got kicked out of. So I ended up going to college. So I went to college and studied animal management to be a zookeeper.
Oh, really?
So that went well. Never took off that career.
Oh, you didn't? Did you work with wildlife at all?
Yeah, so my first job, this is when I was struggling with my mental health. So my first job was set to be with animals. So I wanted to be a zookeeper. So I applied for as many jobs for animals in the UK. But at this point is when I was quite suicidal and nearly took my own life. But I struggled so much with job interviews and turning up to job interviews because we didn't have Zoom, we didn't have Skype back then. So I couldn't do it because of my anxiety of turning up to a job interview where there was someone sat in that same waiting room going for the same job. So I just couldn't do it. But one company, which was an English company, offered me a telephone interview, which is brilliant, and did well on that. They offered me the job. I accepted it straight away, thinking fresh start. I get to move away from home. I get accommodation. I get food. And then about a week later, they sent me some flight tickets for South Africa. I didn't realise the job was in South Africa.
Oh.
So yeah, ended up moving at 18 over to South Africa.
Wow, that would have been very scary at the time, especially if you with anxiety and that.
Yeah, no, it was a big jump, but I did it, and that's pretty much what set me on the up, shall I say.
I guess someone who struggles with anxiety as well, how did you jump out of your comfort zone and hop on that plane to South Africa? Because most people wouldn't.
It was my gran. So it's like I was wanting to stay at home, but my gran, who's no longer here, she sort of basically backhanded me onto the plane. She's like, "You will do it. You will go." And I was like, "Okay." But best thing I've ever done. Like, I never even been down to London by myself before. So having to get the train from York in the north down to London for my flight out, that was a new. So all of it was a new experience.
Yeah, I can totally relate with you. The whole anxiety thing, like growing up, had anxiety. Job interviews, same as you. Like I would hate going to one-on-one interviews. Like so nervous and scared. But as you grow older, you feel like you totally overreact to all these things. Like you get all this anxiety, and then you're like, "What was it for?" Like I'm totally fine.
That's it. Yeah. So looking back, like I even walked up the doors of where I was meant to have a job interview, looked in and gone, no, I'm going. And just turned around and walked out. And now you look back, you just go, yeah. But yeah, it's probably the strangest feeling ever when you have the pressure that builds up on you when you're walking in. There's everything running through your head just over a basic job interview.
Yeah, you run 50 million scenarios through your head of what can happen. You drive yourself psycho.
That's it. Yeah, and I don't think the suit and tie helps you relax at all.
Nah. So, what was your experience like in South Africa?
South Africa is amazing. So, my background is like working with, as I say, trained to be a zookeeper. Specialised in predators, so I wanted to work with your big cats and mainly your big cats really over there. But I ended up working with birds of prey first. So I was looking after injured birds of prey, mainly owls. Owls aren't very smart anyway, so injured owls which have got a little bit of brain damage from flying into electric fences or being hit by cars in South Africa are even dumber than a normal owl. So you just sit with these owls most of the day. I used to have to read magazines to one owl. And eventually, after weeks and weeks of working with these blind and injured owls, I was given a chance to work with the cheetahs, which led to one of the cheetahs taking a massive gouge out of my shoulder.
Oh, shit, really?
So they've got the feet, the claws like running spikes, so they're always out, which is strange for cats because cats retract. But cheetahs are constantly out. So as I I was in the enclosure room and the semi-tame, this cheetah jumped onto my back from behind me. And as it did, I stood up because I was bent over and it slipped down my back and just took a huge gouge out of the top of my shoulder.
How many stitches?
It was about 20 by a vet. So if you ever have a stitch by a vet, most painful thing ever.
Was there any anesthetic or just did it?
I think I was in a fair bit of shock, so he just did it.
Did you work with lions as well?
Yeah, so there was a few lions there. There was a leopard. There was some ex-circus lions which had all the teeth removed. That's why you couldn't rewild them, really re-release them. There was all sorts there. A lot of snakes, a lot of birds. It was a fair. There was even a baby hippo called Humphrey. He was hand reared for a bottle, and Humphrey would come lie in your lap, put his head on your lap, and go to sleep, and you could stroke this hippo. And later he got, when he was older, he was meant to be rewilded, so meant to go live in a game reserve, but some farmer who bought him decided because he'd been hand reared as a baby, he was going to try using him as a tourist attraction, and then the Humphrey ended up killing the farmer, sadly.
Shit. That's crazy, eh?
Yeah, poor Humphrey. He was in all the newspapers over here in the UK. And I was like, is that Humphrey, which I used to know? And turned out it was.
That's sad. What was the favourite animal of yours to work with?
Favourite animal over there? Not the favourite to work with because it's a scary little fucker. Sorry for swearing.
That's all right.
Honey badger.
Oh.
Honey badgers. Little nightmares, basically. They're vicious, like seriously vicious. And the first time I encountered one was the owner of this. It was an animal rehabilitation centre. But the owner, the honey badger, had got out and it was running up towards me. And I'd only been there a week. And he goes, "Grab it." So instantly just grabbed it at the scruff of the neck and picked it up without realising honey badgers can turn in the skin, so it can turn around.
Yeah.
The next thing, these teeth and claws are coming at my hand. So I lobbed it in the air, trying to get it as far away from me as possible. And then after that, every day I'd walk past their enclosure or feed them, you just hear it like growl at me. I was like, I can hear you. But the horrible little things, they go for your gonads when they attack you. If you're a man, they know where they are.
Smart.
So they target you.
Are they immune to venom? Do they kill snakes and even if they get bitten, they don't die?
Yeah, they sleep it off. So yeah, they get bitten by like cobras and just like have a nap and then they're okay.
That's crazy.
And lions and leopards are scared of them as well.
Yeah, because how strong is their bite?
They're like, if you up there, because they're not actually a proper badger. They're more like related to your weasels and stoats and like your otters, which have the hardest bites out of like everything. And the hyena's part of that family as well. So yeah, so you wouldn't want to get bitten by one.
No. Did you work with elephants or giraffes or any of those?
Didn't work with any elephants. Giraffes. One giraffe bust my nose on a rescue capture because you have to put a mask to cover their eyes to calm them down. It just swung around, and the rope what they were like trying to capture it with just twacked me right in the nose end and blood everywhere.
Fuck. They're strong too because when they fight, they headbutt, don't they?
Yeah, you ever seen the David Attenborough documentary when the slow motion of the fight? Yeah, I've never seen them do that though.
No. Oh, that would have been such an awesome experience working with such a vast range of animals.
Yeah, it's great. It was a complete eye opener from where I'd been at college, because at college we had like chinchillas. That's the most exotic thing we had.
Mm.
And then you fly over there and there's all this going on.
And how long did you work there for?
I was there just over a year, and then at AC I got a bit homesick and came home.
Mm. And what did you do when you came home?
When I came home, I started doing random little jobs. So I worked in an auction house selling fine art. I was the person who holds it up in like an auction room and people bid on it. And I went on to make erotic chocolate. So I made the chocolate you see on hen do's.
Yeah.
And then from there, I realised that I was happier travelling and being abroad. So I went on my one and only gap year, my month in Thailand, and then realised I didn't like a gap year. So I ended up going to Vietnam on an adventure.
So did you ride all around that Vietnam?
Yeah. So we circumnavigated it basically. Because have you heard of Top Gear?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So it was just when Top Gear had been out and done south to north. And we thought, good idea, but how about doing it the entire way around Vietnam? So we went over there and bought 3 scooters, 50cc, like mopeds. Only one of the original ones made it the full way around. But we just did an entire lap. And then, so you got the mountains in the north, and then you got the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And then, it was a good lap, basically.
How many of you did it?
3 of us. Two lads from Essex. One I used to work with, and then his mate. And when we were over there, they were like, should we get some mopeds? I'd never met my friend's mate. I was like, have you ever ridden a bike? He's like, yeah. He got on it. First thing he did, straight into a wall.
What other troubles did you that occurred along the way?
So within the first week or so, when we were going into the north part, where the mountains are, we never expected it to be as cold as it was, because everyone thinks Vietnam, tropical country, it'll be really hot all the time. Going to the mountains, never experienced it as cold as that. And then going up, we started to run out of petrol. So the bikes had died basically because you're going up on these mountain passes all day. So we started to, basically just ran out of petrol and we were stuck in the cold. And we're like, Tom started to go blue in the lips. I was constantly shaking. Like, what do we do now? We're stuck. So we huddled together for warmth for about an hour. And then we're like, we either go back and see if we can find somewhere to stay, if there's like a house, and see if we can find some shelter, or we go up to the top of the mountain pass, see if we can see any lights or any fires. We decided to go up, and we could only see one light, which is about 3 or 4 miles away. So we walked and pushed the scooters there, and then that one light was a street light in a Chinese mining city, basically. And there was no one there. It was a massive, modern city, just built for all the miners and their families when they come to visit, but abandoned because it was off season. And then we found one hotel which had a caretaker who let us stay. We couldn't sign our names when we were entering the hotel, so we just had to put a squiggle and then turn the air conditioning up to about 30 degrees to heat us up.
Oh, that's funny. What were the roads like? Because was there landmines and that in some parts of it?
Yeah, so the Ho Chi Minh Trail area is the most bombed place on earth. So it would take about 200, 300 years to remove all the unexploded bombs from that area. And you go through parts of the roads where the roads are just bog, like just mud. And then say when it starts raining, which it will do most afternoons, it will just start like chucking it down. The mud churns up, and then it would churn up into your tyres. Your tyres would stop moving from the thickness of that mud. You'd have to push the bike down and sort of declag the back wheel. But then you remember, like, under that mud could be a bomb. You're like, oh God. And you'd see them. So there'd be like villages with like, you'd see like little ponds in the fields. And the ponds they don't look like they should be there. But that's where a bomb's gone off and just made a little crater. And then you'd see like bits of like the shell of it being used in the village as like a scoop. And it's just there. You never notice them unless you look for them.
That would have been scary riding through there and not knowing if you're going to get blown up or not.
That's it. It's not there in your at the front of your mind. It's always at the back of your mind, and until you stop and actually go, yeah, there could be a bomb like right here. That's when you start like panicking.
Bit of an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, well, you see the people removing them. Like in Cambodia and Laos, there's areas where obviously teams are removing all these bombs, and yeah, it's crazy stuff to think how many are out there.
How many days did it take you to do the loop?
Well, 2 months. 2 months.
Okay.
Give or take. We had a few days like stopping off places, but yeah, it took us 2 months.
Now, what are some of the funniest stories? 3 lads around Vietnam. There's got to be some funny stories out of that.
Oh, Christmas Day, new suits. Have you ever seen Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
But they have the orange and the blue suit. That's how we spent Christmas Day. We had tailor-made suits. And then when you run out of clothes, as you do, because you don't do any washing when you're away. So we ended up spending quite a few days riding around in bright blue and bright orange and a purple suit for a couple of days. And we had one of the like hotels we stayed in. We'd come upstairs, and the front door had a little like grid in it, and a lady had tried to break into our bedroom to steal our stuff, but she had got caught. She had got stuck in the vent. We'd come upstairs, and this woman was just stuck in our door after trying to steal our bags. So, you okay? She's like, and we helped her out, and then she just ran off. But yeah, we had a caught red-handed, basically.
Yeah. Good old Vietnam.
Great country.
Yes. Were you doing it for any like certain reason, raising money for charity or any of that?
Not that one. That one was before I started really paying attention to charities. Like now I do it all for mental health charities or youth charities. But back then it was just for me, my mate, have an adventure really.
What are some of the lessons I guess you learn about yourself on doing this trip? Was that your first big trip, wasn't it?
So yeah, that was my first big one. That's when I started to realise that sort of, because at first I thought it was like travel was good for your mental health, is what I thought. And then then I started to realise that it's not about travelling. It's about just being outside and living a bit more adventurously. It's a bit what's good for your mental health, not the going abroad bit. So at that point, that's when I started to sort of change my stance on my adventures and started to think about it a lot more sort of differently. So my next one, which I started planning as soon as I got home, was all taking a different route, basically.
Was that the Central America walk?
That was, yeah. So it's a pretty easy way to plan a walk, really. You look at a world map and you think that looks pretty small. I could probably walk that.
Where did you get the idea from to walk to Central America?
So yeah, I just looked at a world map. So world map, and I was like, I want to walk. I want to do something where I'm walking. And you look between North America and South America, and that's that little tiny bit. And you're like, oh, that doesn't look like it'd take too long to walk. That must be all right. And then that's how. So originally I chose it for that, and then you research it, and it's got the murder capital in Honduras, and then it's got the happiest country in the world in Costa Rica. And then, as someone who suffers with depression, I thought, brilliant way to sum up how my mind is.
And was that 4 months and about 2,000 kilometers?
Yeah, it was. So I started top of Honduras, near a place called Jericho, which is near sort of the Caribbean side, and then just made my way down. And there's the Trans-American Highway, which runs down to Panama. So there's that as like a thing to help you navigate. And then either side of you, so if you go too far one side, you've got the Caribbean Sea. You go too far the other side, you've got the Pacific. So basically just made my way down the middle.
Was it just you this time?
Yeah, so it was me, and then people joined. You get chatting to people, and my Spanish isn't very good, so you end up picking up people to help you translate and speak Spanish. And my girlfriend now she's spent most of her life in Spain, and I still can't speak Spanish.
Now, what did your friends and family think about you doing these crazy challenges?
Well, where I'm from, no one understands. So you go away for 2 months or so, and you come back, and they'll be like, "Oh, did you have a good holiday?" And you're like, "Yeah, yeah, it was all right." And then, yeah, like now when I take groups away, and make earn money from it. Come back again. You've been on holiday again, haven't you? You've got a lot of holiday. Yeah. But yeah, no one seems to understand the fields. So I've in the Yorkshire Dales, you're either a farmer, a builder, or a plumber, really.
So when you got back from your Central America trip, what are some of the other adventures that you did after that?
So from that, I came back, and companies started offering me work leading groups. So I started to guide people on expeditions around the world, taking walking groups really, and sort of led me into that. And then I got into public speaking because people started to follow me on Instagram, like following the Central America trip. So companies started asking me to come and speak about my mental health journey and my adventure through Central America. And then from there, I thought, I'm going to start doing more English-based things. And I'm about 6 foot, I'm about 14 stone, so I'm not really built as a runner or a climber. And so I started doing sort of slow travel endurance challenges, basically. So I got a recumbent trike, which is one of those lie-down trikes.
Yeah.
And I did Land's End of John O'Groats, which is the endurance challenge in the UK. You go from the south to the north.
Wow. How many kilometers?
Now it's 800 and some miles, so it'd be about 1,000 kilometers on the top of my head. Yeah,
How long does that
about
take?
887. It took me about 3 weeks on the trike.
Nice. And do you hold a world record for something?
Yeah, so I've done Land's End of John O'Groats 3 times now. And this last time, I did it on a kick scooter. So same sort of route, but we only managed to do 8 days because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I am now the world's fastest man over 1 mile on a kick scooter.
Oh, that's a nice record to have.
I've always dreamt of it.
Oh, that's funny. Now, So you have a partner, you're doing travel. Does that impact your relationship at all? You doing these long trips?
Well, I've cut back really now. So I've cut back to not really traveling abroad, trying to impact the environment as little as I can. And yeah, she's very supportive of my UK trips, my the jogs and the things I do here in the UK. But so far, it hasn't impacted it. I plan on not going too far for the next year or so because we have our little girl on the way. But yeah, hopefully we can get our kid involved with some adventures later on.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. What have you been doing this year with COVID? Obviously, you can't go overseas. What have you been able to do?
Yeah. So, well, from February, wiped out all my bookings. So I went back to doing random little jobs throughout. We had the lockdown, so I worked in a shop. My first ever time working in a shop. I've done a few podcasts and a few radio interviews, stuff like that. I got into woodwork, and I've been doing up this house.
Oh, you did all that, did you?
Well, painted it. So it's an old jam factory. It's where they used to make jams and chutneys. But we're turning it into a house eventually.
Well, it looks nice from what I see, so good work.
This is the only bit. This is why I've sat in this bit of the house.
So with travel, what would you say has been your favourite destination?
Nicaragua. Out of all the countries, Nicaragua.
Where the hell is that?
Nicaragua. So it's between Honduras and Costa Rica.
Okay.
It has about 17 volcanoes. And it's just an amazing country. They have a Lake Managua, which is a lake where they believe there's sharks in it. So it's a shark-infested lake.
Oh.
And,
are the volcanoes active still?
Yeah, they're very active. So I took a charity group there a few years back, and we were meant to go up a volcano with a guide, and he wouldn't come. He wanted to watch football, so we went up because I've been up at the volcano and I did my walk by myself. So we walked up it, and I was like, is it meant to be this hot up here? You're like, oh god. But yeah, they're all pretty active up there still.
So did you go to the top and you can look inside and see all the lava?
You couldn't see the lava in this one. This one's called Cerro Negro. So it's a new formed one. So it's a new volcano. So you can see the dome where an eruption would build. But there's, I can't remember what it's called now. There is one where you can go up and you look in, and it's called like I can't remember what it is in Spanish, but it's like the gateway to hell, basically. And during the 70s, the dictator used to throw people out of a helicopter into that volcano.
Oh, shit. Crazy. Have you been to Australia?
I've not, no. My brother used to go there quite a bit, but I've never been.
You got to add it to your list, mate.
Oh well, yeah. I want to go to New Zealand as well.
Yeah, I want to go too. I'm so close to home. I've never been.
I think closest I've been is Borneo to Australia.
What would some travel tips you would give to people, starting out, wanting to travel?
Don't think about it too much. Don't overplan it. So I think a lot of people spend too much time thinking about it that they get carried away with planning it and never end up doing it. Just book your flight, get your flight booked, and then you've got a deadline.
Yeah, you just say yes and deal with everything else later that comes along.
Pretty much everything works out. So like people who spend all this money buying all the kit in the UK when it's already out there, basically. So just get your flight booked.
Yeah. What are some places on your bucket list?
On my bucket list, well, I've started looking at races. I don't know why, because I'm not the biggest runner in the world, as I say. So I've started looking at it's called the Silk Road mountain bike race. It's a race across Mongolia on mountain bikes. So Mongolia, and then the Marathon des Sables, which is the 9-day ultra marathon through the Sahara Desert. So that's another one on my places to visit and do.
You better start training then if you're not a runner.
I know. Yeah. Well, I did a 100K race a few years ago, and I wasn't a runner then either. But people who were in running gear, and I was just in like a pair of football shorts and a football t-shirt, were just getting injured, so dropping out. And I was just doing my slow pace passing for 100K, and more people were dropping out in front of me. I ended up finishing 10th in my first ever race.
Shit, it's all.
My last.
I've found it's all a mental game running long distance.
Yeah.
Because I only just recently got into running myself.
What was your first race?
It wasn't a race. It was just me and my mates decided to run a marathon. So I've done that, and the next day I was in a world of pain, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I think I know the world of pain you were in.
My knees felt like I had chronic arthritis. So
well, I spent the next day just sort of lying there with everything hurting, but I had this big green medal. I was like, yeah,
all worth it.
All worth it. All worth that little bit of tin. Will probably cost £2.
Yeah. I love to ask travelers these questions. What are some of the weirdest foods you've eaten?
Oh, so I eat most things. I've eaten sparrow, the little bird.
Yeah.
But it was a horrible moment when we realised what we were eating. But we were eating at this street food place, and we were like, "This is really nice meat." I don't eat a lot of meat now. After this moment, I wonder what it is. We asked the man. We went, "Is it beef? Moo, moo?" So I do an impression of a cow, and the man sort of looked at us and went, "Woof, woof," and we're like, "Oh no!" And it turned out we'd just eaten, yeah. And at that point, it was like vegetarian for the next 2 months.
It was probably the next door neighbour's dog.
Yeah, that was it. I felt so guilty, and I was like, "Oh my god! Oh, how have I let myself eat that?" And, yeah, it was
crazy. That's the fun bit about traveling, though. Trying all the different cultural foods and what they eat.
But that's it. And I remember going to Vietnam, and I'm never good with curries. I'm never really good with spicy food. And you think of the UK's non-spicy curries, what we have here, and I'll be safe having that in Vietnam. I love that. And then just sweating with how much spice is in everything. You're like, oh my god, it's so spicy. And yeah, I've learned if you just continuously eat spicy food when you're over there, by the end of it doesn't affect you.
The toilet would be a great sight, wouldn't it?
That's it. At the end, perfectly fine. Beginning, not so much.
Oh,
God. You've got to see it out.
So how do you fund all these trips? Was it just from working your jobs and you just saved up?
Yeah, so I do it all self-funded. So I believe a lot of people nowadays just think companies are going to throw money at you to do trips. And it's not the case. You've got to have like a name. You've got to have like something what you're going to offer companies to get them to throw money at you. So a lot of people waste a lot of time in like searching for all these sponsors and all these like free kit and all this money, when you could just go get a job down at like a pub and just save that money. So I try to promote that as much as I can. And like I'm a fellow of the Royal Geographical Society now, so I have access to like grants and funds like that. But it's more about promoting the just do it sort of mentality. Don't waste your time chasing all these like sponsors, which has been sort of made glamorous on social media.
Yeah. How did you get yourself into the National Geographic Society?
So it's you get sort of voted in basically. That's it. You sort of show you've done something which regards to geographical, I can't even say it, geographical sort of interest, and then they have a little sort of committee who allow you in.
Yeah, because Chaz Powell's on that as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great fellow. How'd you meet him? Through that?
I met Chaz. I met Chaz at a talk. So I think it was a thing called Yestival or Yes Tribe, but we followed each other on social media. But when I met him, we were both talking at Yestival, and we got on really well, and both enjoyed queuing, meet each other every morning in the coffee queue, and then just got on from there with his very dry sense of humour.
Yes, he's a very good bloke to talk to.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And he's done some crazy adventures as well.
He has, yeah. We work for a expedition company, the same expedition company as well. So I've met him at some of their work things, yeah.
When traveling, have you had any dangerous encounters with humans or animals?
I've been mugged 3 times. So I've been mugged. My first mugging, I gave them everything. They just said, "Give us all your money." So I just gave them my money. My second mugging, I was with a local Nicaraguan, and he only ate rice, and I just ate like the pasta, and I was carrying all this in my rucksack, and I had no money because I've already been mugged. And the fellow was like, "Give us all your money." And I was like, "Oh, I've got no money. I can give you some food." And I was like, "I've got loads of rice. I can't be bothered carrying all this rice. So I'll give him some rice." And after the local was like, "Oh, but I don't like pasta. Give him the pasta." We ended up arguing for about 20 minutes about to give the mugger rice or pasta. When we looked up, it had gone. The mugger had just walked off.
What countries were these in?
That was Costa Rica. Was that one? And then I got mugged. We got mugged with a group of there were like backpackers. I was taking a group of backpackers, so they would be about 20 years old, and we got mugged by. It's in Costa Rica again, the happiest country in the world apparently. And the man was shouting at me in Spanish, saying, "Give me all your money!" And a girl from the UK behind me just went, "Such a beautiful language is the Spanish."
They're happy when they have your money. That's what it means to the happiest country. But I guess traveling must really open your mind, wouldn't it, to all the different cultures and beliefs and ways of life?
Yeah, it definitely does. It's like I always when I take if I take a school group, I always try to get them involved in as much culture as possible. So try getting them to respect the communities they're in, and get involved with as much as their sort of practices as they do over there. So yeah, there's some weird ones I've taken. Some like school groups. I've taken school groups to Madagascar, and you're taking a school group from a very posh private school in the UK to Madagascar during the time where they dig up the dead. So they dig up the dead and celebrate with the dead. So they redress their loved ones and have like a little party basically. And we had just landed, and so we just got into Madagascar, and it was like, what's in that bag on those people's shoulders? I went, well, that's probably their gram. Like, what? So that was a sort of a culture I don't think the school understood straight away. I think it was just a bit of a straight in at the deep end. The Magai dig up their relatives.
Do they do that every year?
I think it's every year. Yeah. It's I think it's more the recently deceased. They do it to protect their village. They do it to protect their villages from like nasty spirits, basically.
It'd be good for these kids to go to these countries, I guess, that are classed as less fortunate than us. You know, it makes them grateful for what they have.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of the like half my work will be school groups. Like summertime is school group time, and most of the schools are pretty well off. Usually, their parents have a lot of money. That's how they afford to go on these trips. But sometime a few years ago, when I was just starting, I did a few charity ones, which are all sort of the kids have fundraised. They've done it. They've earned the money themselves to go on these trips, and those get more out of it than the ones who've just had the parents pay for it. Basically, I believe anyway.
Yeah, I believe it's good for our next generation to experience other cultures and their ways of life instead of just being on your phone all the time.
Yeah. So one of the companies I work for is the same as Chaz as well. He works for this one, but they have a no phones policy for the schools, so kids aren't allowed to bring their the phones with them, which is great because it just gets them more involved with everything. They get more involved with like chatting to each other. They get more involved with doing things with the communities they're in, and get more involved in what, like if they're doing a trek, they get more involved with that, looking around them. It's no longer they have the phone and the distraction in their hand.
Yes, because that's all the kids do these days. They're addicted to it.
Yeah. It was in where was it? Cambodia. I had a school group again, and they all said none of them had a phone, and then I had my phone, and we had a little in-country guide add me on Instagram, and I was like, oh, so I clicked on him, and he had 80 followers, and I clicked on them, and literally it was just a list of all the girls from that school. And I was like, oh, don't have a phone. So yeah, every single one of them who didn't have a phone had a phone.
Doesn't surprise me one bit. I got to say though, it's awesome that you do all this stuff, and then now you're having a child of your own. You can take that child on these same experiences, and you know they get to live it and experience that for themselves. And coming back to home where they guess they'll have everything, it makes them so much more grateful for what they have.
That's it. Yeah. So we've already decided it's going to be an outdoorsy baby. So we're not going to have an Xbox or anything like that. And then we're fortunate to have. I live in the Yorkshire Dales, and we live here currently. and my girlfriend's family live in the mountains in southern Spain, so also very remote. So we're going to be either family who we go stay with is going to be countryside. So we're lucky enough to have that, and then as having a little girl as well, it's made me open my eyes to the lack of female adventurers, really. And if you go into a bookshop and have a look at the outdoor books, there's not many lady outdoor writers. So I've been making lists of inspirational ladies to over the years to come to sort of push my daughter onto. I was like, have you seen this girl? Look what she's doing. And, hopefully inspire her to follow in their footsteps.
That'd be awesome, especially when you get to go on adventures together. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we've already looked at Santiago de Camino, the Camino de Santiago, shall I say? See if it'd be possible to do it with like a 2-year-old, like a month-long walk with a 2-year-old.
Oh, that'll be challenging.
Yeah.
Oh, so are you chasing any more world records? You might go for the 2-mile time this time, or?
Oh, so well. I wasn't far off because I was going for. It was 5 world records I was going for, and because we had to stop because of COVID becoming bad again in the UK and travelling at like 8 kilometers an hour, I didn't want to be like the slow man on a scooter who just spreads COVID throughout the country. So I made the choice of stopping before we hit all the really high COVID areas. But I was 20k off the furthest distance travelled in 12 hours. So I probably could do that one if I do it in a flat area, because everywhere we did was quite hilly. And then we were set for an 18-day Land's End of John O'Groats record as well. So that would have been 3 days off the current world record. So we would have had 3 world records, but if we had got my ass in gear. So I might try doing them.
You should, mate. Once COVID goes away, just fucking smash them out.
That's it. And then I found it was funny because if I got 4 world records, I would have more world records than Usain Bolt.
You can hang that up on your wall.
That's it, yeah. Usain who?
So you're from Yorkshire. Is that soccer or rugby league there?
Bit of both. So yeah, the north is big into rugby league, but I grew up playing football and soccer.
Okay, yeah. So I'm a big rugby league fan, and I play too. So
yeah. Well, we'd be nearest team would be Leeds Rhinos. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah, so that'd be my closest. That or Warrington as well.
Yeah,
Warrington, big. But yeah, I never really got into it.
So who do you follow in the soccer then?
Soccer, strangely, Spurs, which is a London team.
Okay, and how they go this year?
Oh, terrible, terrible. Yeah, I think I've spotted them for all my life, so 32 years, and I think we've only won 3 trophies in my 32 years.
Oh God, you need to find a better team.
That's it. I'm going to stay strong. Hoping for glory days one day.
One day. So you've had your struggles with mental health. What kind of stuff have you done in regards to personal development besides, traveling and being outdoors?
Yeah, so with it, you realise how much talking about it helps, and I'm lucky enough to have do talks on it. So what a better way to talk about it than tell hundreds of people about it. So you're getting it off your chest to not just one person, you get it off your chest to a room of 200 people. So it's a great way. It's great to see how you can encourage people and help other people with similar problems to yourself just by talking about it or showing it and doing like a scooter trip for mental health. And so I've just, the personal development part of it is just learning about how much to open up to people, how much that helps you.
Yeah. Did you mention before that when you were going through that period of time that you were going to possibly take your life?
Yeah. So that was, it's just when I was struggling to find work and like literally nothing going for me. And we got to the dark point of where I found myself a bit drunk and with that thought in my head. And then where I was at that time to do it, a bunch of, I don't know what you call them in Australia, we call them chavs. Like they all wear like tracksuits and turned up in like cars with the large exhausts. And sort of put me off. So I'm grateful for the teenage chavs who came and disrupted me.
And how did you overcome, I guess, your depression? Was it talking to people and getting it off your chest? Because that would have been hard at the time.
Yeah. So, I never really opened up to it when I was like really bad. I just ended up walking. I just started doing qualification called your mountain leader. So it's just you're just walking in the mountains in the UK basically, and I ended up starting to do that. And so I've got my mind set on doing that and walking and getting all these mountain days in to do this qualification, and realised like how much it distracted me and how much being outside was good for me, and meeting all these new people whilst just walking and talking to these people whilst out on walks. That was the big up for me, really.
Did you go to any rehab or any of that as well?
No. So just to our local doctors. I was on some medication for a while, but I found the walking helped more than anything really. And I'm trying to think where would a rehab be around here, but we don't really have much up here. We have a local GP, and that's about it.
What are some of your hobbies, again, besides traveling and being outside?
Hobbies? I used to play soccer when I was younger, and then once you start making money from walking, I couldn't really risk playing soccer every weekend and getting injured. So I had to pack in my football and get days, and but other than that, I'm just, all my hobbies are outdoors. So I like my bushcraft. I like my wildlife. It's all outdoors. I'm a very boring outdoors person. I like gardening.
Not boring to me. The outdoors is probably the best place to spend your time, I'd say.
Oh, it is, yeah. Apparently it's raining like today.
Well, it's raining every day in England. I think it got up to about 30 degrees here in Australia today.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I've got the heating set on 20 here.
Yes, and because I do air conditioning for work, so HVAC, I was in a roof today, so it was very hot up there.
Oh, with the insulation as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
yeah,
summer's always a fun period when you're in roofs.
Well, I remember I installed my grand's loft insulation. I've never sweated so much in my life. Just installing all the fiberglass foam. I was in this like white seat. Just came down and you could just literally wring out my t-shirt.
It's like doing hot yoga. Have you done that before?
No, but I have seen people do it. But yeah, it's be good training, good weight loss.
Yeah, I don't need it though. So, who do you look up to, or who are some people who inspire you?
Steve Irwin.
Yes, he was one of my big idols growing up too. I cried when he died.
I was in South Africa, so I was living in South Africa when he died, and he was my major sort of hero, and I keep joking to my girlfriend saying that I'm going to call the baby Stevie Irwin. but yeah, he was my major one, and then there's people like have you ever heard of Thor Heyerdahl?
No, I haven't.
No, so he's a Norwegian fella, and in about 1920, 1930, he had the theory that Polynesia was settled by the Americas, not Asia. And scientists all went, yeah, that can't happen, because South America didn't have any form of boats at that time. They couldn't sail. So he set out and built a balsa wood raft in Peru, which is a sort of raft they would have had in that time, and then just sat on it and floated across the Pacific Ocean to see if he would end up in Polynesia, and he did. so yeah, there's a great film of it as well called it's called Kon-Tiki.
Okay, I might have to check it out.
Worth checking out. But yeah, he's just hearing that story when I was younger just set my mind like, oh my god, he just floated across an ocean. Yeah,
goes to show that anything's possible, eh?
Yeah. I saw recently. There's a fella trying to do the same thing on a bouncy castle. They put a bouncy castle in the ocean and just float.
Too bad if gets a puncture, he's going down.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to be the man like sat on that for a month or two.
Nah. Oh god. Some people and some of the stuff they try and do is very crazy.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a mad one.
So what's next for you besides fatherhood? You know, do you have any bigger plans for yourself and what you want to do in the future?
Currently, we're setting up my local guided walks in the Yorkshire Dales, which is all sort of restarting after the big COVID lockdown. And the next thing is just fatherhood. Is the next big one.
That's a big task in itself.
See how that goes for the next year or so. I coach if I can.
Probably be the biggest job you've ever done.
But my next, I was going to say, it's going to be my next. I would say next 2 years, hopefully filled with fatherhood. I don't want to say the next 18 years.
It's 18 years. Just get used to it. Just accept it now.
Yeah, I'm just going to put a notice on all my social media. I'll be back in 18 years.
So, my last few questions for you. When your time's up on this earth, what's something you would like to be remembered for?
Hopefully, a positive impact on people's mental health and helping them understand how the outside and the outdoors can help. That would be a great one. But yeah, I imagine that'd be the only thing I'll be remembered for.
And being an awesome father, by the looks of it.
And hopefully being an awesome father. Yeah.
Yes. And I guess my last question for you is, what's your definition of success?
It's my definition of success. Oh, that's a tough one to finish with.
Yeah.
Success in my eyes is completely different to other people's. So I feel like I've been successful in the things I've done, but other people would just see me, as I said before, just going on holiday a lot. So success is completely different to everyone, isn't it? So I feel success for when I've done one of my trips and how it's encouraged more people. More people I feel like I've encouraged through it. I feel more more success than actual completing it. So I like more success is from the encouragement I set to others, really.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah, it's a great feeling being able to inspire people to make change in their life.
Yeah. So that'd be more. That's more success than, say, being the world's fastest man on a kick scooter.
Yeah. So I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for giving me your time and coming on. It's been a great chat.
No worries.
And for all the listeners out there who want to find out more about yourself, where's the best place to find you?
Social media. It's at Matt Kettlewell.
Do you have any YouTube or anything like that?
No YouTube, but I've got my website, which is mattkettlewell.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. And once again, appreciate your time.
No worries.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Cheers.